What's the first thing you say to yourself when you wake up? Before you check your phone? Before you think about work? Before the world gets loud? What's that first thought that slips into your mind? Most people never notice it, but that moment, those first few seconds after you open your eyes, might be the most powerful seconds of your entire day. Because what you tell yourself in that quiet moment sets the tone for everything that follows. And if you're like most people, that moment is often filled with stress, regret, or dread. You think about what went wrong yesterday, what might go wrong today, and without even realizing it, you let the weight of the world shape your mindset before your feet even touch the ground. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can take it back. You can take back those first few seconds. You can choose different words. Words that don't come from fear but from power. Words that don't pull you down but lift you up. Because the truth is this, the first voice you hear in the morning is yours, and that voice matters more than you think. That voice is the narrator of your story. It tells your brain what to believe, how to feel, and what's possible. Say nothing, and the noise of yesterday rushes in. Say the wrong thing, and your mind will believe it. But say something strong, something true, and your entire day can shift. It's not about toxic positivity. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about being intentional. Because neuroscience tells us that self-talk shapes our thoughts, our emotions, and even our actions. The words you repeat become the beliefs you carry, and beliefs shape behavior. So if you keep telling yourself you're stuck, you'll act like it. But if you tell yourself you're capable, you'll begin to find ways to move forward. And that begins the moment you wake up. That's why this matters. That's why what you say to yourself in the morning is not just a routine. It's a ritual, a personal reminder of who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going. You are not a slave to your past. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not defined by the opinions of others. You are the one who gets to decide the energy you bring into this day. And when you speak power into your own mind, you build resilience. You build clarity. You build direction. This is where change starts. Not in massive leaps, but in small, repeated choices. Saying the right things to yourself every morning is one of those choices. It's a simple habit with profound impact. And if you stay with me through this, I'll show you 5 simple, powerful things to say to yourself every morning. Words that rewire doubt into courage, fear into focus, and ordinary days into intentional victories. You deserve that kind of life. So stay with me. This starts now. Say this the moment you open your eyes. I am alive, and that means I have a chance. Breathe that in. Let it settle. Not just as a phrase, but as a truth. Because the fact that you woke up today is not a small thing. It's a miracle disguised as routine. You get another shot, another page, another opportunity to shape your story. That breath in your lungs isn't just air. It's potential. It's permission to begin again. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need every answer. What you need is the awareness that you still get to try. And that makes you powerful, no matter where you're starting from. Too often we get so focused on what we don't have that we miss what we do. We wake up already behind, already comparing, already measuring ourselves against expectations, failures, deadlines, and doubts. But before all that, you need to remind yourself you are alive. That alone makes today valuable. That alone gives you permission to try again. This moment right now is a reset. You are not out of time. You are not stuck. You are still in the game. And while you are in the game, you have choices. And choices, no matter how small, create change. You don't need to make massive progress today, but you do need to believe that you can. Because belief fuels action. The mind can't go where the heart doesn't believe it's allowed. That's why this one sentence matters so much. I am alive, and that means I have a chance to forgive, a chance to rebuild, a chance to grow stronger, a chance to do it differently than before. Maybe you've fallen, maybe life has beaten you up. But if you're breathing, you're not broken, you're becoming. Growth is uncomfortable, but so is regret. One gives you strength, the other steals it, and you get to decide which one leads you today. This isn't about pretending life is easy. It's not. Some days will feel like a fight, but remember, you're still here, and that means you have power. The power to choose one better thought, one better action, one better response. That's how change begins. That's how confidence builds. Not in loud victories, but in quiet decisions like this one. To wake up and claim your life again. Not tomorrow, not when it's easier, now. Because this morning is yours. This moment is yours. You get to direct it, shape it, lead it. No matter how messy yesterday was, today is new. You're not too late. You're not too far gone. You're right on time because you're still breathing. And while you're breathing, there's still hope. While you're alive, there's still a chance. Say it again. Say it like it matters. Because it does. I am alive, and that means I have a chance. Say this to yourself and say it with certainty. I am not my past. I am what I do today. Let those words cut through the noise of everything you've been carrying, because you are not defined by what you've been through. Not the mistakes, not the failures, not the people who misunderstood you, doubted you, or gave up on you. Your past may explain who you are, but it does not decide who you become. Every day, you have the power to create something new, not by erasing what was, but by choosing what is. You are not bound to the story that once held you down. You are not here to repeat cycles. You are here to rise. The mind is wired to protect you, even if it means trapping you in old patterns. It remembers pain. It holds on to shame. It recycles stories that no longer serve you, just to keep you from stepping into the unknown. But you can rewire it, and it starts with truth. This truth, what I do today, matters more than what I did yesterday. That's not denial. That's direction. Because progress is not about perfection, it's about momentum. It's about waking up and deciding to act differently, think differently, speak differently. Show up, even when you feel broken, especially then. Because it's in those fragile moments that real transformation begins. You don't have to carry the labels others gave you. You don't have to live under the weight of who you used to be. You are allowed to grow beyond the version of yourself that couldn't cope, couldn't speak up, couldn't believe. That version is not your prison. It's your proof. Proof that you survived. Proof that you kept going. Proof that you're ready for more. And you are. You are ready to move forward. Ready to break the loop. Ready to take ownership of this day like your future depends on it, because it does. Every thought you feed yourself today, every choice you make, every habit you practice is casting a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. You don't need to know all the answers. You just need to know that your next action is more powerful than your last regret. The past will whisper. It will try to pull you back. But your job is to speak louder, to remind yourself who's in control, to take that first step, however small, with intention, not to fix everything, not to be perfect, but to prove to yourself that you are no longer living in reverse. Say it again, and say it with your whole heart. I am not my past. I am what I do today. Let that be your compass. Let it pull you forward. Let it be the reason you hold your head higher and move with purpose. Because today is yours, and what you choose to do with it becomes who you are becoming. Say this and let it sink into your bones. I can handle hard things. Not someday. Not when you feel ready. Right now. Because the strength you need isn't something you have to go out and find. It's something you wake up and claim. There is nothing out there that is bigger than the power that lives inside you. It may feel overwhelming. It may look impossible. But feelings are not facts. They're signals. And right now the signal is clear. You are built for more than comfort. You are built for resilience. Life will test you. Not because it's cruel, but because growth demands pressure. Diamonds don't form in softness. They form in heat, in weight, in intensity. You don't need a perfect path. You need endurance. You need the decision to face what's difficult without retreating. That's where your character sharpens. That's where your confidence is born. Not in the easy wins, but in the moments where everything inside you says, give up, and you choose to rise anyway. Hard doesn't mean impossible. Hard means worthy. It means this matters. It means it's going to stretch you. And in that stretch you'll find parts of yourself you never knew existed. Courage you didn't know you had. Strength you didn't think was yours. But it is. It's been buried under doubt, fear, and hesitation. And now is the time to dig it up. Because you're not fragile. You're not weak. You're not here to run from difficulty. You're here to rise through it. Tell yourself this even when you're shaking. Especially when you're shaking. That's when it counts. I can handle hard things. Say it when you want to quit. Say it when the task feels too big. Say it when life throws pain you didn't expect and problems you didn't ask for. Say it when everything feels like too much and nothing makes sense. Say it because every time you do, you're reminding your mind who's in control. Fear doesn't get to lead. You do. You don't need to feel fearless to move forward. You just need to know that fear doesn't get the final word. Action does. Effort does. Consistency does. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a strong reason. And you already have one. Your life. Your future. Your freedom. Your peace. And if all that stands between you and those things is a difficult moment, then face that moment with everything you've got, because your strength isn't proven when things are easy. It's proven when they're not. Say it again. Out loud. With fire. I can handle hard things. Because you can. Because you already have. Because you will again. Let that be your reminder. Let that be your anchor. Let that be a reason to keep going, no matter what comes next. Say this before the noise of the world tries to drown it out. I am worthy of good things. Say it before the doubt creeps in, before comparison poisons your thoughts, before the voices around you try to make you forget who you are. Say it until your own voice becomes louder than all of them. Because deep inside, beneath the layers of pressure, insecurity, and past rejection, there is a truth that never stopped being true. You deserve to feel peace, joy, connection, and fulfillment. Not because you've done everything right, not because you've never failed, but simply because you exist. You are enough right now, exactly as you are. Too many people live their entire lives waiting for permission to feel worthy, waiting to earn love, waiting to deserve rest, waiting to be good enough to finally believe they matter. But you don't have to wait anymore. You don't have to prove anything to be allowed to receive the good that life has to offer. You are not your mistakes. You are not your flaws. You are not the harsh words spoken to you when you were too young to know better. You are a human being with a heart, a purpose, and a light that no failure can extinguish. The mind will try to measure your value based on productivity, appearance, validation, or approval. But worth is not something you earn. It's something you recognize. It's already there. And the moment you start honoring that truth is the moment everything begins to shift. Because when you believe you're worthy of good things, you stop chasing crumbs. You stop settling for almost. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that don't honor who you are. You start choosing better. You start saying no to what drains you, and yes to what grows you. You start walking with the kind of quiet confidence that doesn't beg, it attracts. This isn't arrogance. This isn't pretending to be perfect. This is about reclaiming your right to receive, to accept kindness without guilt, to enjoy success without sabotage, to experience love without fear. It's about healing the part of you that was told you weren't enough, and choosing every single morning to speak the opposite. Because no matter how long you've believed the lie, it's never too late to rewrite the script. Start now, with this sentence. I am worthy of good things. Let it challenge the limits you've placed on yourself. Let it soften the tension you've been holding. Let it remind you that good isn't just for other people, it's for you too. You don't have to be flawless to receive love. You don't have to be unbreakable to be respected. You don't have to hustle for your own worth. You already have it. Say it again. Say it like you believe it, even if you're still learning how. I am worthy of good things. Let that truth take root. Let it guide every step you take today. Say this and say it with conviction. Today, I will show up for myself, not halfway, not when it's convenient, not only when others are watching. I will show up because I matter. My needs matter. My energy matters. My life matters. And every time I choose myself, not out of selfishness but out of self-respect, I plant a seed of strength that will grow into unshakable power. This isn't about perfection. It's about presence, about being awake in your own life, about refusing to abandon yourself when things get hard or uncomfortable. Because the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. When you neglect your own needs, your own voice, your own truth, life begins to lose its clarity. You forget who you are. You begin chasing approval instead of purpose. You shrink to fit the expectations of others and call it survival. But showing up for yourself breaks that pattern. It reminds your mind that you are not invisible. You are not a background character in your own story. You are the main character, and you deserve your own attention, your own time, your own care. If you keep waiting for someone else to choose you, you'll stay stuck in cycles of disappointment. Choose yourself, every day, especially today. That means speaking kindly to yourself when your thoughts try to turn cruel. It means resting when you're drained, not just when you've collapsed. It means setting boundaries that protect your peace, even when they make others uncomfortable. It means doing the hard thing now so your future self doesn't have to carry the weight you refuse to lift. Showing up for yourself is not always easy. It requires effort, discipline, honesty, but it's worth every bit of it. Because the more you do it, the more your confidence rises, the more your anxiety quiets, the more you begin to trust yourself again. Don't wait for motivation. Create it with small choices, with consistent actions, with the decision to keep going even when your feelings tell you to give up. You're building something greater than a habit. You're building a mindset that says, I won't betray myself to please the world. I won't ignore my goals to stay comfortable. I won't let fear dictate the way I live. I will show up. I will rise. I will fight for my future like it's worth it, because it is. Say it again until it becomes automatic, until it becomes a promise, not a possibility. Today, I will show up for myself, because I am not here to live on autopilot. I am not here to drift through the day. I am here to move with purpose, to live with intention, to choose myself, not as an afterthought, but as a priority. And when I do, everything changes. The way I walk, the way I speak, the way I lead. It all starts with me. And today, I will show up. Say this as a vow to your own future. I am becoming the person I'm meant to be. Not someday, not when everything is perfect. Right now, in this moment, With every breath, every step, every decision, I am shaping a version of myself that is stronger, wiser, and more aligned than ever before. This is not about forcing change, it's about allowing it, trusting that growth often looks like discomfort, that healing sometimes feels like breaking, that transformation doesn't happen in loud moments, but in quiet, consistent choices when no one else is watching. You are not here to stay the same. You are here to evolve, to outgrow the habits that kept you small, to release the fear that kept you silent, to stop asking for permission to become more. Because the truth is, the version of you that you've been carrying, the one that hesitates, that overthinks, that doubts their own worth, is not the one you're destined to remain. That version was a chapter, not the whole story, and now, the next page begins. But it only turns if you decide it does. This is the season to move from survival to creation, from coping to choosing, from getting by to living fully. You don't need anyone to tell you who you are. You already know. It's been buried under layers of hesitation, fear of failure, fear of judgment. But deep down you've always felt it, that pull toward more. That quiet voice that says, this isn't all there is. Listen to it. Let it lead. Let it remind you that the person you're becoming is not some fantasy version of you. It's you, unfiltered, unafraid, unlocked. You will not become that person by avoiding challenges. You will not become that person by staying safe. You will become that person by saying yes to the growth, even when it hurts, by choosing alignment over approval, by learning to be loyal to your future instead of attached to your comfort. And with every small decision you make today, you are casting a vote for the life you actually want. That is power. That is progress. That is purpose in motion. Do not let the past keep you frozen. Do not let fear keep you ordinary. Do not let anyone convince you that this is as good as it gets. You are not stuck. You are not finished. You are becoming. Say it again with strength. I am becoming the person I'm meant to be. Let it echo in your mind. Let it become the reason you rise early. The reason you keep going. The reason you walk with fire in your chest even on the hard days. Because this journey isn't about perfection. It's about direction. And every time you remind yourself of who you're becoming, you shift the energy of your entire life. You don't need to wait for the right moment. This is it. Start now. Keep going. Become. Say this with quiet certainty. I will not waste this day. Not in fear. Not in regret. Not in distraction. Because this day is not a placeholder. It's a piece of my life. And how I live it matters. How I show up today is not separate from my future. It's shaping it, second by second, choice by choice. I will not wait for the perfect conditions. I will not wait to feel ready. I will not wait for someone to give me permission. I am alive right now, and that alone is reason enough to begin. Every single morning, the world offers you time. Not in endless supply, but in precious, fleeting moments. And the truth is, no one knows how many more they'll get. That's not meant to create fear. It's meant to create urgency. Not the kind that overwhelms, but the kind that awakens, that stirs something deep inside, that reminds you this is not rehearsal, this is the real thing. And every time you delay your growth, your truth, your potential, you rob yourself of the power this day holds. It's so easy to fall into the trap of tomorrow, to believe that one day you'll be more disciplined, more confident, more prepared. But waiting doesn't build you. Action does. Discipline does. Courage does. You are not going to wake up suddenly changed. You will become who you're meant to be by using today with intention, by deciding that your goals matter enough to prioritize, that your peace matters enough to protect, and that your dreams matter enough to pursue, even if the progress is slow, even if no one claps for you, even if the results take time. You don't need more time. You need more focus, more presence, more trust in your ability to begin exactly where you are. Because this day doesn't owe you anything, but it offers you everything if you're willing to meet it with clarity and commitment. You won't always feel motivated, but you don't need motivation when you have purpose. And your purpose becomes clearer every time you choose action over hesitation, every time you lean into the moment instead of letting it slip by unnoticed. This day could be the one that shifts something, that breaks a cycle, that starts a new rhythm, but only if you decide to treat it like it matters. You don't have to get everything right, you just have to get in motion, move forward, build momentum, take the step you've been avoiding, have the conversation you've been dreading, do the work that feels uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be real. Say it like you mean it. I will not waste this day. I will use it to grow, to build, to align. Because this day is mine, and I refuse to let it pass by unnoticed. I will live it with clarity. I will fill it with purpose, and I will carry no regret when it ends. Say this with unshakable belief. Everything I need is already within me, not someday. Not when I've learned more or achieved more or become someone else. Right now, I am not missing pieces. I am not waiting to be whole. I am not dependent on someone else to complete me. The strength I need, the clarity I seek, the courage I long for, it already lives inside me. It may be buried beneath fear or doubt, but it is there, steady, and waiting to be claimed. We are taught to look outside ourselves for answers, to chase validation, status, comfort, to believe that someone out there knows better, sees clearer, or holds the key to our potential. But the truth is, the power to change your life isn't in someone else's hands. It never was. It's in the quiet decision to trust yourself, to stop second-guessing your instincts, to stop silencing your voice to make others more comfortable, to stop dimming your light to fit into places you've already outgrown. You don't need to become someone else to live fully. You need to return to who you already are beneath the noise. This isn't about arrogance. It's about ownership. You are not here to merely survive your days. You are here to create, to build, to rise. But you can't do that if you keep believing you're not enough. You have wisdom in your gut, fire in your chest, and more strength than your mind will ever give you credit for. The world may not always reflect that back to you, but that doesn't make it any less real. Your worth is not negotiable. It does not increase when others approve or decrease when they don't. It is constant. It is yours. So instead of searching endlessly for the next answer, pause and ask yourself, what if I already have what I need? What if I'm already capable? What if I stopped waiting for the world to see me and started seeing myself? That shift alone changes everything. Because when you believe in your own resourcefulness, you stop asking, can I? And start asking, how will I? You stop fearing failure and start trusting the process. You stop retreating and start expanding. Everything you need to begin, to grow, to overcome, it's within you. Your courage, your discipline, your clarity, your grit, it's all there. Maybe a little dusty, maybe unpracticed, but not absent. Start using it. Start moving from that place of power. Speak from it, decide from it, act from it, and you'll begin to realize that you were never as lost or broken as you once believed. Say it aloud. Say it until it becomes your truth. Everything I need is already within me. Let that truth calm your fears. Let it ignite your next step. Let it remind you that you are not powerless. You are not waiting for the answer. You are the answer. Now rise with that knowing and take the day. Say it with conviction. I am allowed to take up space. I am allowed to speak with confidence, to walk with purpose, to stand tall in who I am. I do not need to shrink to be accepted. I do not need to apologize for existing boldly. I was not created to be small, invisible, or silent. I was created with intention, with meaning, with the right to belong fully. Not halfway, not conditionally, but completely. My worth does not require permission. My voice does not require approval. I am allowed to be here fully and unapologetically. For too long the world has taught us to hide, to edit ourselves, to be careful not to offend, not to disrupt, not to be too much. But playing small does not protect you. It only suffocates your truth. You were not made to blend in. You were made to stand in your own light, to stop performing for others and start showing up as your full self. The version of you that holds nothing back, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment, not to impress, but to be free. When you decide to take up space, you claim your place in the world. You stop apologizing for your opinions, your dreams, your energy. You stop waiting to be picked and begin choosing yourself. That's not selfish, it's necessary. Because no one else can live your life for you. No one else can carry your mission. No one else can speak the words that only you were born to speak. And the more you hide, the more the world misses what only you can bring. Your presence matters. Your story matters. Your existence is not an accident. You are not a background character in someone else's life. You are the author of your own. And every time you show up as your authentic self, you give others silent permission to do the same. That's how power spreads. Not through force, but through presence. Through the quiet, unwavering decision to be who you are, without shame. So stand up, speak clearly, breathe deeply. Let your energy take up the space it was meant to. Let your truth resonate without needing to be softened or filtered. You don't need to shrink to be loved. The right people will respect your light. The right path will meet you where you stand tall. But it starts with you deciding you're done hiding. That you are worthy exactly as you are. That you will no longer apologize for your dreams, your strength, your presence. Say it again until it lands in your bones. I am allowed to take up space. I do not need to become smaller to be accepted. I do not need to dim to be seen. I am here. I am worthy. I am enough, just as I am, and I will rise, fully present, fully visible, fully me. Say this to yourself every morning. I am in control of how I show up today. No matter what yesterday held, no matter what stress, chaos, or uncertainty surrounds me, I get to choose how I carry myself. I get to choose my energy. I get to choose my mindset. And that choice is power. That choice is freedom. Because the world may be unpredictable, but I am not helpless within it. I can ground myself. I can center myself. I can respond instead of react. I can lead myself forward even when things around me are falling apart. There is something unshakable that lives within you. Beneath the noise, beneath the doubts, beneath all the pressure to perform or conform or prove, there is a steady place that knows who you are, that remembers what matters, that doesn't chase validation or lose itself in comparison. When you reconnect with that place, you begin to take ownership of your presence. You stop letting circumstances dictate your mood. You stop letting the behavior of others decide the quality of your day. You begin to live from the inside out. You can't control what the world brings, but you can control what you bring to the world. That shift changes everything, because when you stop giving away your power to things outside of you, you start becoming grounded in things within you. Your values, your goals, your focus, your discipline. These are yours to protect, yours to embody, yours to live through. You can wake up overwhelmed and still choose peace. You can feel unsure and still choose to move forward. You can face pressure and still choose to breathe, stay present, and lead yourself with clarity. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. You are not your emotions. You are the space that holds them. And the more you understand this, the more unbreakable you become, because now, instead of being tossed around by the storm, you anchor yourself in your truth, in your decisions, in your presence. You begin each day with intention, not reaction. And that changes how everything unfolds. That gives you control, not over life, but over your alignment within it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep choosing yourself, choosing your focus, choosing your energy. No matter what you face, you are still the one in charge of your response. That's where your strength is. That's where your freedom begins. And the more you practice that, the more powerful you become. Say it and mean it. I am in control of how I show up today. I lead myself with strength. I guide myself with clarity. I move with purpose, not pressure. I don't chase peace. I create it. And no matter what comes my way, I trust myself to rise. Say it with truth and trust. I am not behind. I am exactly where I need to be. No matter what the clock says, no matter what others have accomplished, no matter how loud the world tries to convince me I should be further ahead, I release the pressure to race. I release the lie that my value is tied to my speed. I release the comparison that steals my peace. My journey is not a copy of anyone else's. My timing is not broken. My path is not wrong. It is mine, and it's unfolding as it should. There is nothing wrong with your pace. Growth doesn't happen in a straight line. It happens in seasons, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes loud and visible, sometimes quiet and hidden. But just because you can't see the full bloom doesn't mean the roots aren't growing strong beneath the surface. Real transformation takes time. Deep change takes patience. And you are allowed to be a work in progress. You are allowed to be building. You are allowed to not have arrived yet. Arrival is not the point. Becoming is. Stop measuring your worth by someone else's chapter. You don't know what they had to overcome. You don't know what sacrifices were made, what battles were fought behind their smiles. And even if you did, it wouldn't change your mission. You were not born to replicate someone else's life. You were born to live your own truth. The more you chase their story, the more disconnected you become from your own. Stay grounded in your own becoming. Stay rooted in your own values. Honor your progress, no matter how small it looks from the outside. You are not late. You are learning. You are not stuck. You are being shaped. You are not failing. You are forming the strength you'll need for what's coming next. The moments that feel like stillness are not wasted. They are preparing you. They are aligning you. They are slowing you down so you can move forward with deeper clarity, stronger conviction, and greater resilience. Trust that timing. Trust the pauses. Trust the parts that feel unfamiliar. Because growth never looks perfect while it's happening. It often looks like waiting, like confusion, like silence. But that doesn't mean you've lost your way. Breathe deeper. Release the panic. Let go of the false urgency. You are not in a race you're meant to win quickly. You are in a life you're meant to live fully. You're allowed to move at your own rhythm. You're allowed to redefine what success looks like. You're allowed to arrive slowly, steadily, truthfully. There is strength in your timing. There is power in your patience. Say it again and feel it land in your bones. I am not behind. I am right where I need to be. My path is unfolding. My growth is real. My journey is valid. And I will move forward with grace, with purpose, and with trust in the pace that was made for me. Say this with certainty. I already have everything I need within me to begin. I don't need to wait to feel ready. I don't need to gather more opinions, more validation, more permission. I don't need to be perfect before I start. I have the strength. I have the mind. I have the will. The next step doesn't require me to be fearless. It requires me to be willing. Willing to try. Willing to move. Willing to trust the part of me that knows I was made for more than hesitation and doubt. It's easy to think you're missing something, that if you just had more time, more confidence, more support, then you could finally take the leap. But that's the lie that keeps you stuck. That's the trap that convinces you your dreams are somewhere far away. The truth is, your power lives in this moment. Not in some imaginary future where everything is aligned, but here, where you decide to stop waiting and start choosing. Choosing to believe that your small actions still matter. Choosing to believe that the gap between where you are and where you want to be is closed by your courage, not your perfection. You have already overcome so much. You've already made it through days you didn't think you'd survive. You've carried pain, loss, pressure, and fear, and you're still here. That alone is proof of your strength. That alone is enough to silence the voice that tells you you're not equipped. Because if you are strong enough to endure, you're strong enough to rise. If you were brave enough to survive, you're brave enough to begin again, this time with purpose. The answers aren't always clear before the journey starts. The clarity comes through motion, through mistakes, through showing up when it's messy and unknown. You learn by doing. You grow by stepping. You evolve by moving forward even when the outcome is uncertain. That's what builds you. That's what sharpens you. That's how you become the person you were always meant to be, not by standing still, but by stepping through the fear and trusting that your inner fire will guide you. There is no better time to start than now. Not because it's perfect, but because you are finally ready to trust yourself. Not because the path is easy, but because you're done holding back. You've done enough waiting. You've done enough doubting. Now, it's time to begin. Begin with what you have. Begin with who you are. Begin with the truth that you are not broken, not behind, not unworthy. You are already enough. Say it and believe it. I already have everything I need to begin. I don't need to wait. I don't need to hold back. I trust myself to take the next step. I am ready, not because I have no fear, but because I am choosing to move through it. I am ready because I am willing. Say this with deep conviction. I am allowed to change. I am allowed to grow beyond who I used to be. I am not obligated to stay small just because others expect it. I am not here to keep repeating the same patterns that kept me hidden. My past does not define my ceiling. My identity is not locked into yesterday's decisions. I am not frozen in the person I once were. I am fluid, evolving, and free to become someone new. Change is not betrayal. Change is not weakness. Change is an act of self-respect. It means you are listening to the truth rising within you. It means you are no longer willing to settle for a version of life that no longer fits your soul. The moment you feel the discomfort of staying the same, that's the beginning of your transformation. That's the moment you know you've outgrown what used to be enough, and you are not selfish for wanting more. You are not wrong for walking away from what no longer aligns. You are becoming someone who honors what is real. Growth is uncomfortable. It will stretch you. It will ask you to leave behind versions of yourself that once felt safe. But safety and fulfillment are not the same. You can feel safe and still feel empty. You can follow the rules and still feel lost. So don't confuse comfort with purpose. The path of your becoming will challenge everything that isn't rooted in truth. It will reveal where you were holding back. It will expose the ways you were shrinking just to fit. But that is how your real self breaks through, by releasing the parts of you that were never truly you. You don't need to apologize for changing. You don't need to explain why your boundaries have shifted, why your priorities have evolved, or why your energy feels different. You are allowed to protect your growth. You are allowed to choose yourself, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Because not everyone will understand your transformation. Not everyone will cheer for your healing. But that's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to honor the call to become. The call that whispers in your spirit and reminds you, there is more. Say it with strength, I am not who I was. I have learned, I have healed, I have awakened, and I will not go back just to make others more comfortable. I will not dim my light just to fit into a version of life that no longer reflects who I am. I am proud of my growth. I am proud of my courage. I am proud of the way I have begun to choose myself. I embrace change because I trust who I am becoming. I give myself full permission to evolve. I'm allowed to change. I'm allowed to grow. I am becoming someone new. And that is a beautiful thing. Say this to yourself and mean it with every breath. I deserve to take up space. I deserve to exist fully, without apology. I don't need to shrink to make others feel comfortable. I don't need to hide my voice, my dreams, my energy, or my truth. I was not born to be silent. I was not made to be invisible. The world needs people who are fully alive, not partially present. The world needs people who dare to own their power, and today, that person is me. There's a part of you that has been waiting for permission, waiting for someone to say it's okay to be bold, to be loud, to be different, to be whole. That wait ends now. No more apologizing for who you are. No more walking with your head down. You don't need to explain your presence. You don't need to justify your worth. The simple fact that you exist means you matter. You are allowed to breathe deeply, speak clearly, and live freely without dimming anything that makes you feel alive. For too long, the world taught you to play small, to be polite instead of powerful, to settle instead of speak up. But that version of you is done. You've outgrown the need to be liked by everyone. You've outgrown the habit of disappearing in rooms where you should be leading. Now is the time to step fully into yourself. You are no longer afraid of being seen. You are no longer afraid of being misunderstood. Your truth doesn't need approval to exist. It just needs your courage to stand behind it. Taking up space is not arrogance. It is self-acceptance. It means you trust that who you are is enough. It means you value your existence. It means you are no longer willing to trade your authenticity for belonging. Because real belonging begins when you no longer abandon yourself just to fit in. When you stop shrinking to meet expectations and start expanding to meet your own potential. You deserve to feel safe in your skin. You deserve to own your space, your voice, your path. You deserve to be heard, not just listened to. You deserve to feel proud of your presence, not guilty for it. There is nothing more powerful than a person who has stopped apologizing for being whole. And that power lives inside you. It always has. Today you choose to activate it. Say it now and say it with conviction. I take up space because I matter. I speak my truth because it deserves to be heard. I stand tall because I no longer carry the weight of shame. I belong here. I am not too much. I am not too loud. I am not too intense. I am exactly enough. And I refuse to shrink 1 inch more. I claim my place in this world. I claim my light. I claim my life. Say this to yourself every single morning, even if your voice shakes. I am stronger than I feel right now. Strength isn't about never feeling fear. It's not about pretending to be okay when you're not. True strength is showing up anyway. It's standing up when your legs are shaking. It's speaking up even when your voice trembles. It's taking the next breath, the next step, the next leap, despite the weight on your chest. Real strength lives in persistence. Real strength is quiet, steady, unbreakable resilience. And it's already inside you, waiting to be claimed. You've already survived what once felt impossible. You've walked through moments that tried to break you. You faced pain you never thought you could carry. But you did. You are still here. And that's not weakness. That's power. That's grit. That's the heart of someone who refuses to quit. Never let anyone convince you that softness is fragility. Never let the world confuse compassion for weakness. Your empathy is a superpower. Your depth is a gift. You feel deeply, and still, you keep moving forward. That is strength most people will never understand. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You don't need all the answers to begin. Courage is built in motion. Confidence grows in action. Every time you show up when it's hard, you plant seeds of power. Every time you choose to rise instead of run, you expand your capacity. You're becoming unshakable, not because life got easier, but because you decided to get stronger. You didn't wait for the storm to pass. You became the one who learns how to stand in it, eyes forward, soul grounded. So remind yourself every morning that you don't need to be fearless. You just need to be willing. Willing to try again. Willing to take one more step. Willing to believe, even just a little, that you are capable of more than what the fear in your mind is whispering. Your fears will speak, but they are not the truth. Your doubts will rise, but they are not your destiny. The truth is in your actions. And if you keep showing up, the truth becomes clear. You are powerful beyond measure, even on the days you don't feel it. Say it with strength and feel it settle in your bones. I am not my fear. I am not my failures. I am not my past. I am my persistence. I am my effort. I am the voice that says, keep going, even when it hurts. I am stronger than I feel right now, and I will not let this moment define what I'm capable of. I rise. I rebuild. I reclaim my power, one breath at a time. Breathe in and say it like a promise to yourself. I am proud of how far I've come. Not because everything is perfect, but because I've kept going. I've made it through every single day I thought would break me. I've picked myself up from places so low, even I didn't think I'd rise again. And here I am, not by accident, not by luck, but by will. By strength I didn't know I had. By choosing not to quit. Every scar is proof of survival. Every tear is a mark of growth. Every failure is a lesson carved into the foundation of who I am becoming. When you take a moment to see your journey through honest eyes, you begin to realize how much you've actually overcome. Not just the big moments, but the silent battles. The invisible wars you fought in your own mind. The nights you went to sleep feeling like a mess and still found the courage to wake up and try again. You showed up when no one else saw your effort. You kept going when no one clapped for you. You held yourself together when everything around you felt like it was falling apart. That is something to be proud of. Stop minimizing your progress just because someone else's path looks different. This is your story, and your steps matter. Every inch you've moved forward counts, even when it was slow, especially when it was slow. Growth doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's a whisper, a quiet decision to be just a little better than you were yesterday, and that's enough. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone. You're not here to chase someone else's timeline. You're here to live your truth, your pace, your purpose, and every single inch of your progress is valid and worth recognizing. Take pride in the moments you stayed kind when the world gave you reasons to be bitter. Be proud of the times you kept your heart open when it would have been easier to shut it down. Acknowledge the strength it takes to feel deeply and keep loving, hoping, believing. That's not weakness. That's the kind of power that can't be measured by money or titles or followers. That's the kind of power that builds character, legacy, and true impact. So each morning, look in the mirror and tell yourself this truth. I am proud of how far I've come, even if I'm not yet where I want to be. Because I've earned every inch of progress with sweat, with effort, with faith. And I will not let the pressure to be perfect erase the fact that I've grown. I will not wait for someone else's approval to recognize my journey. I see me. I value me. I'm proud of me. And that pride will fuel my next step forward.